Now we're going to continue with the book of Revelation, chapter 4, verse 1. And this is the last book among all of those that we have. As I mentioned before, this is the one by the man who worked with the Edgar Cayce readings for years and has studied it for a long time. Now, he has much to say in here about many things, but one of the most interesting parts, of course, has to do with this thing on Revelation 4, verse 1, chapter 1. So we will be going through this, reading it to you, because it is a different perspective. Because this comes not only from Edgar Cayce, but from this man's interpretation of what Edgar Cayce is saying as well. So I will be reading it from here. There's the verse up there, and then the commentary goes through a couple of pages, not very long, but I'll start now so I don't take too long with it. So what we have here, first of all, is it says, now here's the verse, and after I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show you things which must be hereafter. Now, what this one says, first of all, about the door opens in heaven, refers to a doorway to consciousness, a way by which impulses from the lower body could reach the brain or mind. However, this doorway is not an opening per se, as we usually think. This doorway is called memory. Now that's the key to interpreting this according to the Cayce readings. It's memory. For memory is quite indispensable to grow, particularly in becoming the Son of Man. We must continually all remember, quote, from whence we came and to whence we must return, unquote. We must, as a prodigal son, remember and return to our Father. Memory is so important in us that without it, we could never know anything. Else all things we experience would forever be new, not knowing in any way of kind in which it is possible. Learning is a process of building memories. Hence, memory is a basic mind function which allows us, on the good side, to get to heaven, and on the bad side, it points the way to hell. Without memory, we could never reach that new heavenly state of consciousness portrayed in Revelation 21, verse 1. Then he says, a new voice was heard as it were a trumpet. And they said this refers to Revelation 1:10, in which the trumpet sound is a vibration, a herald. The only impulse reaching the brain are vibrations and are perceived as colors. There is no such word as vibration in those days, but the symbol of a trumpet certainly portrayed a herald, just as a memory calls to mind that which we already know, as does a vibration. And it says, see Revelation 1:10 and its comments. Now, I could go back and do that, but I won't right now. Then I'll read you on the next page what he continues to say. He says, come up hither. Now, was necessary for the Son of Man to learn the workings of the conceptualization process in the body, making recognition of a memory by the brain and mind in the seat of control of the incarnate soul in the body, a necessity. The things which must be hereafter were necessary to know the mechanism of learning and memory before one could know what is recalled or after recall, just as a good driver must remember how a car works. The hereafter does not refer to a prophecy of future, except in the sense of the meaning of memory. So there you have, in this book by Mr. Iron, in this immense study, which is actually quite good on Revelation, how memory is so important, because without memory, you cannot know anything to compare with anything else. And you can't change a state of mind without knowing what your previous state of mind through memory was, and so forth. So you see how that's very important here. And this will be our last book, which we are going to speak about in this idea of the book of Revelation, chapter 4, verse 1. But of course, there's much more in Revelation to know than just this. But this is good enough for now. We hope you have enjoyed all of this on the book of Revelation, chapter 4, verse 1.